Thank you, Acting Speaker. I also rise to speak on the roads, road safety and ports legislation. And as we've heard, our side will not oppose the bill. However, it is presented on a day we actually get to fact check the Allan Labor government genuine commitment to road safety. I could not count how many times my colleagues and I have raised road safety in this parliament, and let alone over the last decade. It is important to us as the Nationals because we live in the communities that have to live with the loss of and the impact of poor road and road safety. We live with the families when they have an accident or a family member loses their life. One of my most harrowing challenges in this job was only being in this role for a few months, and I had lots of people reach out to me about the Euroa Mansfield and how dangerous that section of road is. And I wrote repeatedly to the Roads Minister at the time to ask for a review of the speed limit, also to ask for a review of the shoulder. And it was nearly 12 months on when we lost a life, an 18-year-old, recently she had her licence and we lost a life, that I got a response and the road speed was changed, the shoulders was broadened. But what a shameful trigger for this government to act. I think that what we want to talk about, like some of the feedback that you've heard on our side is it's about time. It's about time this government speaks about road safety. We're going insane on this side. We feel the gaslighting constantly about the negligence of our road network, and every time we raise it, it's saying, well, we're doing our job, we're investing $1 billion. That is basic maintenance in this day and age. So I wanted to start my contribution and list all of the roads that desperately need an upgrade in the Aurora electorate, but I will run out of time. So some of the critical roads that we must look at is the Violettown-Murchison Road, Benalla to Swampool, the Midland Highway. There is not a section that is not dangerous, with poor lines, absolutely treacherous potholes and shoulders that are causing accidents, deteriorated, crumbling shoulders. Kilmore Main Street, Benalla Yarrawonga Road, Colbinabbin to Murchison, every arterial road that is not built for major freight, that has become major freight because of the condition of people trying to get to places quicker, is now incredibly dangerous. I dropped in to see a mate at Waring Motors, Trevor Gubbins, and just last week, because he's a mechanic, 25 vehicles he does a week by himself, largely an impact of this government's failures. Because of the conditions of the road, his business is booming. And he's frustrated. He doesn't want to see his mates in the community have that financial impact from a government that cannot manage its road network. 25 vehicles a week. And he went through and he showed me the financial consequence of a government that does not invest in maintaining and upgrading our road network. It is felt by every Victorian. And what floors me about this bill is that the Allan Labor government are going down the path of fining an infringement rather than fixing the roads. It is just a different approach this government has compared to our side, where we believe in genuine repairs and maintenance, not just fixing potholes, repairing and rebuilding the roads. Potholes, edge breaks, faded and non-existent line markings are becoming an absolute hazard. And this government's turned to enforcement rather than doing its own job, which is fixing the road. Shortly after the 22 election, we had the floods, which was the original excuse as to why the road network was so poor. It was the floods, then it was the bushfires, and now it's the war. Anyway, the gaslighting is quite extraordinary. I went into Murchison, and on the entrance into town, there were these extraordinary air pockets on the main road, line mark with yellow all over it. Every Victorian knows those damn line marking and what that means as a warning signal. The line markings wore off. They haven't been fixed. It's just that the line markings no longer exist. This is dangerous, and it brings me to Archie Bain's story. He's a Broadford, 82-year-old, absolute, a huge identity in our region, driving down just past Waring Motors into GV on the GV highway, and he hit a pothole that threw him across a lane, past another car, destroyed his truck, destroyed a neighbouring vehicle, and has caused several people thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage because of a pothole that was known to authorities. It has been repeatedly marked, and only when I raise it here in this place does the government go out to do its job and fill these potholes. It is shameful use of resources when it takes us to individually name a pothole before this government responds. Now, I just want to talk about the infrastructure and the fact that we're not seeing that investment keep pace with some of our population growth and what that means for our road network. So this government has put a 300% population increase on the residents throughout the south of my region, from Kilmore to Broadford, the Mitchell Shire, 300% increase in population. And yet, since 22-23 budget, the government has spent about $50 million on the Kilmore bypass that has not even acquired a paddock. Has not acquired a paddock. Ask me where that money's gone. I have no idea, but there are plenty of questions. Labor planned, started and almost finished the Westgate Tunnel in the same period, a mega project, in less time than they can purchase a couple of paddocks for a roundabout. But still, mind you, managed to spend $50 million. The money is there. The choice is not. Regional Victorians are sick and tired of missing out because our lives are at risk. The roads are dangerous. I wanted to highlight a couple of the issues within the budget, which is a coincidence that this bill gets put forward on a day that we get to scrutinise the true spending of the road maintenance and safety budget by the Allan Labor government. Bit of creative accounting happening, I think we can all notice. Plenty of road projects that are moving from capital to operating expenditure. And why is that important? Capital works are about building and fixing. Operating spend is maintenance, your core responsibility, the job the government should be doing, but it's not. The outcome is the same. Fewer upgrades, delayed works, and patch jobs instead of long-term fixes. The fact that this government has put a 300% increase on our population and we still don't even have a Kilmore bypass, can spend $50 million on bureaucrats but can't buy a paddock, is an example of how bad the Allan Labor government is at managing a project and managing the budget. Regional Victorians certainly pay the price time and time again. So again, the bill focused on infringement and targeting the drivers, yet the Allan Labor government is failing to do its core responsibility, which is fix our roads. There is a pattern of neglect when it comes to the Allan Labor government's investment in our road network. Short-term fixes are replacing that long-term planning. South of my electorate, and in fact the whole northeast is paying the price for that. We can see it in the public transport gaps, energy reliability, the school infrastructure. Today's budget was shameful neglect when it comes to investment in regional Victoria, and roads was no different. What we actually want to see on our side of the house, the Nationals dream of safer roads, not more fines. That's not the way to go about it. Fix the roads. That is how you make community safe roads safer. We need to see viable upgrades and not just announcements. These hollow promises of a Kilmore bypass and yet $50 million spent on who knows what. Regional roads, as we've heard, they're not a luxury. Acting Speaker, you said it yourself. The emergency services that are turning out to the road tolls and driving patients on the roads, they're the ones that are experiencing the cost of a failure of our road network. It is the everyday Victorians, the freight operators, families trying to get their kids to school that pay the price. They're all going to Trevor Gubbin's place at Waring Motors and he can't keep up. So actually, Acting Speaker, it was your term that you said exemplary standard of roads. Mate, that's gaslighting. The facts are in the budget. This government neglected our regional road networks. The greatest threat to road safety at the moment is the absolute neglect of the Allan Labor government in our roads.